So, we are going to start with whatever comes up first here. I suspect it's going to be the Irish Independent. Is it? No, we don't have the Indo PDF. There you go. So, it is going to be the Irish Independent because that's what I'm picking up. Hazard warning for Blues. This is it. Eden Hazard. No, screw you, Chelsea. I won't sign a new contract. I'm not going to do anything until I find out exactly who it is that you are signing to play with me, because I'm one of the best footballers in the world, and frankly, look at the shit that I have to deal with. That's about it.
Yeah, he is their best player. The signings that they've made haven't been particularly good, but on the outset, when you look at some of the signings they made, you're like, that's a good signing. Alvaro Morata, good signing. Tiémoué Bakayoko, good signing.
Yeah, maybe they get better next season. There's like maybe that whole coming to play for Chelsea affects some people, and also it was clearly the season that Chelsea were going to have off. Munster sent back 1,000 tickets for the RDS semi-final showdown. This is interesting. I think this game is all set up for a Munster smash and grab. Munster very pissed off, sat at home watching Leinster win a fourth, which is 2 times as many European Cups as Munster have. Also have had a week off. Also, as you were saying off air, Leinster are not really used to going back to back to back the way they have this week. Also, celebrations. Like, Easton Seawood was asked, what difference does it make that you have Munster next weekend in terms of celebrations? None. You have to celebrate these moments. It's the 4th time ever in the club's history that they've won this competition. It looked 3 seasons ago like they were never going to get back there again. All of a sudden, they're the greatest team in Europe by a mile. And so, I just think that Munster 8-point, 9-point underdogs generally across the board.
This is all the PR narrative
Having
from
a bit
Leinster,
of that.
Easy say was like definitely towing the party line here, where it's like, we're going to hammer Munster on Saturday and we're going to tell everybody we've been partying all week. That's how embarrassing it's going to be for Munster. Secretly, people think that they're in coppers, but in actual fact, they're doing late night sessions back in Donnybrook. They didn't even celebrate last weekend, I bet you. They just told people they did, and they're going to hammer Munster on Saturday and come out and say, oh, well, we celebrated all week and we still beat them. So
social media these days, I'm sure that lots of people saw many Leinster people out, many of the Leinster players out, and fair play to them. They should be celebrating it, right? Absolutely. But I do think that there's a very good chance that Munster are actually going to beat them, or get very, very close to beating them this weekend. United and Liverpool in the 100 million Cup. This is the new replacement for the Club World Cup. Going to be held every 4 years. First one's going to take place in June 2021. China is understood to have already expressed an interest in paying for the right to it. In being the first host nation. It doesn't actually say paying for the rights to hold it. Ireland going back to Chicago. You were in Chicago. Oh no, sorry, you weren't.
I was there last month. This month.
That doesn't.
Sorry, it does count. It definitely counts.
And then England are going to play one-day international in Malahide in cricket, and never going to play Test cricket against us, apparently, or at least not for years and years and years and years. And maybe by 2022 they might come over and play a one-day international. If they can't fit us into their busy schedule next year, screw you, England, stealing our best players for generations and generations, and we finally become Test nation. And you're like, oh yeah, good, oh well done lads, off you go. No, we won't play you. No, we definitely won't play you. We won't waste one window of 5 days to play you, because screw you.
They don't want to give up another century to Kevin O'Brien. That's what I'm seeing here. It's fear from the English.
Here's this great story, which I wonder, should we play the Brian Gavin stuff now, given that it's on the cover here. So it's Faithful Furore. Offaly Chiefs launch review of Wallace tenure after Wicklow loss. There is, I don't know the etymology of the Faithful County nickname, but it doesn't look like they're going to be very faithful for very long to this management. I'm just going to read you the headline from this, and then we'll play some of Brian Gavin from last night on the radio. Offaly GAA Chiefs have commenced a review of their senior football management following Sunday's Leinster Senior Football Championship defeat to Wicklow. Normally, you would wait for the review for the championship season to be over, but we're in the middle of it now. Literally, we could be in the middle of it. 2 games, first game beaten, second game potentially beaten, depending on the relations, or depending on the result. Relations between manager Stephen Wallace, coach Billy Sheehan and the squad are understood to have reached crisis point, with the board looking into events surrounding the 5-point defeat after extra time to Wicklow, including claims of a half-time dressing room row. Brian Gavin was on the radio last night. Obviously Brian Gavin, a famous referee, inter-county hurling referee. Tommy Walsh accidentally nicked him in the head in that Kilkenny tip game. They made peace afterwards, so it was all grand. Here he is. He's also an analyst now at Midlands Radio, talking about the Offaly situation.
There was rumours. There's not rumours, it's a fact that 6 or 7 of the players said they will not go back if Stephen Wallace continues on as manager of the Offaly, and we just can't. We've only 26 or 7 training as it is, so we couldn't lose another 6 or 7, that's for certain, under the management. And I think they have let the county chairman know, Tommy Byrne. So,
and are these potential starters?
Oh, I'd say maybe 3 or 4, Joe, definitely potential starters. Obviously, you know, we won't mention names, and that wouldn't be fair to the chaps involved, sure. But definitely. So there was a rumour that there was going to be training tomorrow night. I can't see that happening, and waiting to see who turn up nearly, which is, you'd nearly think that was a Junior B situation, you know, who'll turn up and what'll happen. So it's unfortunate for Stephen Wallace and his backroom team. In fairness, I interviewed him a few times. I found him grand. I couldn't have any complaints, but as I said, I think the straw that broke the camel's back was the incident in the Kerry Club game. It's just left a very, very sour taste. And the players then, I'd say, were disgusted with what they saw, and it hasn't got any better, plus the Johnny Maloney incident. So I just can't see that he's lost the complete dressing room at the moment, and I just can't see a way back. And unfortunately also, Joe, that former players who really put work into Offaly for down through the years, Alan McNamee, Rory Allen, you know, they have said tweets, which is on social media, and they've got likes from some of the current players. So it's a real mess, to be honest with you, Joe. And I just hope that we could get over this and maybe appoint someone for the qualifiers and start looking to Division 3 next year to try and build momentum.
Rhodes Alan McNamee, who played 100 times for Offaly, is was mentioned there. It was an awful pity to see one of the best footballers in the county, Johnny Maloney, on the terraces today, and our manager, in inverted commas, the man who had him there, hiding under a hat and a hoodie in the stands, liked by several members of the Offaly panel. Former player tweets out about current manager.
But it's not as if he's voluntarily gone up and he's not hiding from the situation. Clearly he's banned. He's not allowed to be on the sideline.
He's banned for his part in a sideline brawl during a club game.
Hold on a minute, why is he saying that he's hiding?
Well, because he's dressed in, you can't really see that picture there because it's too small, but he's dressed in, pulled up a beanie hat and a hoodie and pulled up and
hold on a minute. I'm not going to... you're about to allude to what happened between Ardfert and John Mitchells in the Kerry Intermediate Football Championship, which is completely unacceptable and he's completely deserving of his ban. But what would you do if you were banned from managing your county? Just sit there at the top and say, hey, look at me, everybody come over and disturb me while I'm watching my county play. Of course he's going to try and communicate. He's wearing a wire, for God's sake.
I don't think you're allowed to communicate.
Well, I don't know what, he definitely has some sort of earphone in.
Does he?
I don't know if he's allowed to communicate or not, but you're going to try your best to get some sort of message down to the team.
You can't have a runner, but I think
hiding. I think that's a strange comment to make.
I don't think it's that strange. I mean, it's not like he sat in the press box, which he could have done.
Would he?
Pardon me. Yeah, why not?
I don't know. I wasn't there. Was the press box full? It was a championship game.
There's the picture there. I mean, it's not that full. It's obviously, these stadiums aren't going to be full for these games. But I guess you're not out front and centre. You're you're pretty low key.
Hold on, Tommy's just saying to my ear there that is he talking into a mic? I'm pretty sure there's another image where you see a wire.
You can see a wire in the front of that. So I mean, are you allowed to?
I don't know what the rule is. My point here is just
diminishes the whole point of suspension if you're just allowed to call down to the lads, isn't it?
Well, what about Davy and his box there last year?
But was Davy on the microphone in his box?
I'm pretty sure he had some sort of line of communication.
I don't know.
I'm not sure, is it a sideline ban only, or is it a ban from all GAA matches? I'm not quite sure on that one. But the point here is that he did deserve his ban. He hasn't proven himself to be kind of the shining light that a lot of people in Offaly might have thought he was. Certainly didn't help himself with the incident in the club game in Kerry. His reputation, unfortunately, is going to be diminished hugely as a result of this. And I do fear that we haven't got the real representation of the quality of Stephen Wallace's managerial capabilities. So it's unfortunate it's going to end like this for him, you would suspect, on an inter-county level.
They had okay results in the league, really. I mean, they lost Armagh and Derry and Fermanagh.
I do find it curious that the county board is now launching a mid-season review, given that they've robbed him of his best young player. They were the ones who made the decision that Cian Johnson wasn't going to play for the Offaly seniors this year. Cian Johnson wasn't happy with that. I'm not sure how Stephen Wallace felt about that.
Maybe they didn't think that he was the right man to be managing this superstar's career.
That's a pretty bad indictment. Why didn't they launch the review after the league then? Why did they leave it until the week beforehand to say to Cian Johnson, you're not going to play? If they really felt that Stephen Wallace wasn't the guy to manage Offaly, then he make that decision at the end of the league. Why are you giving him subliminal messages, stealing his best young player?
It's not that subliminal. It's also a decision that they decided that they were going to have this rule and that they weren't going to risk young players. fair enough, he wants to play, right? And I think that probably generally in those circumstances, you let the player decide. And obviously he'd been grand during the league and the O'Byrne Cup.
Been very good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I suspect the other point is that whoever appointed him is responsible for appointing him. And if it is as ridiculous a situation as it seems, they need to take responsibility for it. And so therefore it's Turkey's voting for Christmas. Yeah, did that one. So the Racing Post is, let's hear it for Harry. The big day arrives as Prince of Sprinters returns in bid to tie rivals in knots. Day one of York's Dante meeting is today, so that's what that is about. And Kings of Leon, Atletico set for crowning glory in Europa League final. Yeah, they're definitely going to win that, aren't they?
You would think so, yeah. They are one of the best teams in Europe. They shouldn't be in that competition. On the back page of the Herald, Salah says, I had a point to prove. Liverpool leading the way on the back of this newspaper. Mo aiming to silence critics in Euro showdown with Madrid. You've also got an Airtricity League result there, St. Pat's 2, Sligo Rovers 0. And this one here, it's Corcoran, we will move on. So that's the Ireland under-17 keeper Jimmy Corcoran saying that the past is the past. He took to Twitter last night to say, now it's a time to accept that, although as cruel a blow as it was, the decision was correct and we will move on and learn from it to become stronger. It goes without saying again, Jimmy Corcoran and his Ireland teammates at the under-17 level have the maturity of somebody well beyond their years, and for him to accept that is incredible.
Sports Star of the Week.
Sports Star of the Week, without question. On the back of the Mirror this morning, it's we're Real good too. Van Dijk tells Reds to believe they can down Madrid stars. A lot of build-up there, actually, to the Champions League final, even though there's 10 days to go. Hazard says, I'll wait on the new Blues. That's Eden Hazard's story again, talking about how Chelsea need to sign better this summer if he's going to renew his contract at the club. Red was right. That's the Jimmy Corcoran story. And Faithful stars off. That's Pat Nolan's story there, saying that at least 4 players have left the Offaly panel. On the back of the Star this morning, they're leading with that Patrick Vieira story that Ger mentioned a few moments ago. Your token the Mick. Vieira fury at Arsenal job gesture. Grealish backs veteran Terry as well. Aston Villa have progressed through to the Championship playoffs final. That's going to be a cracker. It's on in 10 days as well. I think it's a 5 o'clock kickoff before the Champions League final. They're taking on Fulham in the richest match in football. FAI hope O'Neill's in the clear. Of course, Martin O'Neill could get a ban for his role and his his communication with the referee after the under-17s lost the other night. It was harmless. If Martin O'Neill gets a ban for that, it is an absolute disgrace.
He's definitely going to miss one of those. What is the competition called? Nations Cup?
Nations League.
Nations League.
It's one. Like you've got to give that competition the respect it deserves.
It'd be a tragedy. It'd be a tragedy if Roy Keane had to stand on the sideline on his own, wouldn't it? Like.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of the message it sends. It's like
I was delighted, Martin. Get out there, go on.
Yeah, absolutely. On the back of the Sun, it's Aiden quit threat, break the bank or I'm off. Hazard Blues warning. Yes, they will. That's Aston Villa 0, Middlesbrough 0, which was good enough to send Villa through to the playoffs final. Hart axe fury aimed at Moyes. So we've got Joe Hart blaming David Moyes for his role in not getting involved in the England squad this year. He was going to be number 3. And Southgate says, you're actually going to be my number 4.
That is Hart's career in a nutshell, blaming somebody else for his own propensity to be crap.
And then David Moyes naturally blames somebody else. I'm looking to see how far these dominoes fall in terms of the Joe Hart not making the squad.
Is it our fault? I mean, hopefully.
It's probably my fault. On the back of the Guardian, it's England shock. Southgate's generation game cuts Hart and Wilshere. Wilshere, the other high-profile player likely to miss out. Fabian Delph looks like he's going to make the squad. Danny Rose and Ashley Young also likely to make it as well. So, small surprise there, but I think Fabian Delph is a great inclusion.
I don't think it's a shock either.
No.